Well, I got into this business in the 80s when I was going to grad school in France and working on my project in the Middle East. So I was just, looking at paleoclimates, and it's nothing to do with CO2 then because it's all driven by other processes. But when I then I came to the University of Ottawa and started teaching this course, Quaternary Geology, but I changed the title because of the media presentation of this new global threat, CO2. So I changed it to Quaternary Geology and Climate Change. And I brought the course from just looking at the Ice Age to looking at the Ice Age transition through the Holocene up to today to make that connection. So that, aren't I smart making this course current with what's happening today? And I would read documents from the American Geophysical Union. They have a monthly newspaper called EOS, and they present science. And all the science that they were presenting was highly focused, I won't say biased yet at that time, but focused on these climate issues like melting Antarctic ice shelves. And then that spawned articles in the newspaper, big crack, no joke, and things like that. And I would show this to my students, and CO2 is driving or warming now. It's unprecedented and all the rest. And a colleague of mine, Jan Beiser, who had been studying, I'll say, the Phanerozoic, which is the last 600 million years of climate through sea sediments, brachiopods, and isotopes. And his discoveries were absolutely remarkable. He is, today, Canada's foremost geoscientist in terms of citations, recognition, accolades, and all the rest. And he says, Ian, water vapor is the big thing when it comes to greenhouse gases. And what? I was just a kid, just started my career. And I started looking into that and reading up more about it and the correlations and what's driving the greenhouse process and the lack of correlation with CO2. And, so from his insights and his making me aware of this, I started to dig down more on the science and truly found that CO2 was a minor player and much over-trumpeted greenhouse gas, and that it was misleading. And so I really became, I'll say, a climate realist at that time, and started bringing that into my course. My course is mostly emphasizing the past, which not controversial in that sense. We had our controversies, but what caused the Younger Dryas and things like that, different glacial and interglacial epochs. But, and it was an exciting time to be doing this work because that was when the ice core data was coming out from Antarctica. They'd been drilling down there in the 70s and 80s, and now we're getting ice cores and CO2 records that correlate with the temperature, and we're seeing the correlation of CO2 with temperature, but the offset. And that you start to recognize, hang on here now. So CO2 is not driving temperature back then, it's following temperature. And so what's happening today? Why is it driving temperature today? It doesn't make sense now, it doesn't add up. So that's when I really started to change my view, and I haven't changed back, despite all the CBC warnings of how we're ruining the planet and we've got such limited time left. Well, I will say that I think what Friends of Science is doing is fantastic because there is no, I shouldn't say no, but very little representation of climate realism. And there's a desperate group of, we're all here and there talking to each other, but we're not so well organized as the IPCC and governments and Greenpeace and the World Wildlife, all these groups are so well funded, who knows how, who knows where, and these groups don't care about the science. And the people I meet through Friends of Science promoting the science. And if anything, and our government, of course, came to power saying that we'll follow the science, but of course they don't. No government will. They'll use whatever information best supports their policies or their objectives. And groups like Friends of Science are chipping away at that, promoting it. I think you just need more money.